Hey, Mom, how's it going?
I'm doing well, Lindsay. How's your day going?
It's going really well. Yeah,
Yeah, got anything happening this week?
not much, but I'm super excited. Today we're sitting down with two. We always love when we get to sit down with a mother-daughter duo. So it's special you brought yet another mother-daughter duo to the podcast today.
I know. We get to welcome Patty and her daughter, Vanessa, Patty Lares and Vanessa Lares of AA Lares Insurance Services in Orange County, California. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah. I love seeing other female leaders working with their daughters and bringing them into this incredible industry. It's pretty cool because if you look from the outside, it actually feels like a very male dominated industry, but I mean, I think you guys might be the fourth mother daughter that we've actually found and brought on this podcast, which is kind of unique. I've not actually brought any son. We haven't invited any father son, Lindsay. We should probably fix that. But anyway, like I think it's pretty cool that we were able to find a pretty nice number of mother daughter duos, which is exciting. Anyway, I think it's pretty unique.
It's very exciting and it is unique. It's neat to see it. And I've actually had conversations with a couple other newer agents that they say, "Oh my gosh, I look forward to that. I hope my daughter would want to join me one day."
Yeah. Well, I'd love to start with Vanessa and then go to Patty, just getting a little bit of like a background, like just high level, what brought you to the industry, how long you've been here, and what you do in the agency.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I've been at the agency for a little over 3 years now, and I've gone through a few different positions now. I call my official title Jack of all trades. Mini Patty, anything she does, I'm learning how to do. No, but I am the marketing director and a customer service representative at our agency, and anything else that needs to get done, you can just tell me to do it, and it'll get done.
Cool. What about you, Patty?
What does she do or what do I do?
What do you do? What brought you to the industry? What do you do in the agency? And how long have you been in the industry?
All right. Um, what brought me to the industry was just the need of having a job. I was 16 years old and I was out on my own. I was out of my house and I needed a job. I was so blessed to, back in the day, Lindsay, you probably don't know this, but your mom may remember. It was this such thing called newspaper. And so Sunday ads, I looked up an ad and I'm like, oh, okay, they need a receptionist and good, I can do that. I know how to type. I applied, went in for the interview, and it happened to be an insurance agency. The rest is history. I worked there for about 13 years, 13 and a half years actually. And I'm blessed to have gotten brave enough to try this all on my own. Started from zero. And so what I do in the agency, I think, need to step back in a way because I try to control everything and I shouldn't. I have laid back a little and trust that there's other people that do things much, much better than I do. And I just kind of oversee a lot of the operations and step in as needed.
And just to add to that a little bit in terms of how or why I got started in insurance, well, the agency was started when I was almost 2 years old. And so my entire life was spent here, really. Spent many nights here before I even was working here. So that's why I say I've really worked here for 23 years, right? As long as we've been open. Used to do the mail. But I always used to say as a kid, I'm going to be an insurance agent. What 5-year-old says that? This one does. So that's what I used to say. And then I got a little older and decided I don't really want to do insurance because what's insurance? I don't know anything about it. I'm kind of sick of hearing it at home all the time. Insurance this client, that client, whatever the scenario was. And then I got to college and learned that I love business and I love problem solving. And so that's where I was at. And I decided, you know what? Why would I not join the family business? Why would I not continue that legacy? And I decided that I have the skill set. Let me try it out. Let me see if I like it. And I've loved it. So that's kind of what got me going, and what keeps me going at this point is just the
Yeah.
fact that I enjoy it.
It's so funny because I had a similar upbringing. Not that my mom owned an insurance agency, but she worked in an association. So I was constantly hearing, her talk about insurtech. I was hearing her talk about data. I was hearing her talk about mergers and acquisitions, like a kind of a way different, I'm sure, than what you were hearing. You were hearing like the insurance agency, and I was hearing more of like the insurance industry, like a little bit wider. But when I was in middle school, high school, I don't remember, there was like a merger. Mom, it was like a Utica merger or something, right?
It was actually the two state associations merged together, which is the reason they recruited me. So it was when you were in middle school, yes.
Oh, yeah. So I remember she hired me and a friend to black out like social security numbers and things on papers because like I was in middle school. What was I going to do with it? She was like, "Here,
Yep.
take this Sharpie. Any number formatted like this, like draw a Sharpie over it." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I'm like, "I would never want to do this. Insurance is boring. All you do is black out papers. Why would I want to do that? That's stupid." Then graduated college. I love communications. So now I work in marketing in the insurance industry. If you would have told me that 5 years ago, I would have looked at you like you had five heads. That's for sure.
It is kind of funny how that all comes around, though. Like they listen and they watch and they learn, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, that actually is super interesting to me, and there is something I want to do there. So Patty and Vanessa, you both said this is a family affair inside the agency. Are there other family members that work with you as well?
Yes, actually, my sister works with us. She's one of our account managers. And my brother works with us, and he is dedicated sales. My husband works with us, and we have two locations, physical locations. Like he said, one of them, he does everything there too. I mean, he customer service, sales, fixes, handyman, whatever's needed. So yeah, right now those are the only family members.
So Vanessa, you were surrounded, my friend. Like there was no getting away from the insurance talk in your world, was there?
No, not at all. I mean, right now, right, we don't have other family here, but my siblings have all at one point or another gotten licensed, and they've all worked at the agency. And so really every conversation had been about insurance. Now I love it because I understand it, and so it's great. But before, no.
Tell them to stop. Like,
So you guys probably know this, but about 72% of independent insurance agencies are family owned. And so that is a common thing. From your perspective, how does that actually set you guys up to have an advantage or a disadvantage by having so many different family members in the same business? Either one of you can take it. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll start us off. I mean, in terms of the benefit there, I think in any industry that you're in, any type of team you're working on, you really have to know who you're working with. You have to know what they're great at, what they're not so great at, and how they work, their personality, and all of that. And so I think working with family has been really helpful because I've known them my entire life. So it's
Sure.
not like I just met them 3 years ago when I started working at the office. I have 24 years of experience with them. And so it really does allow us to give opportunity with their strengths or with my own strengths, or know, hey, I'm not going to do great here, but knowing who you are, you're going to be awesome at doing this task. So let's make you in charge of that.
Yeah.
I do think that there's definitely the benefit of knowing your team really well and being able to communicate with them, having that practice. So I love working with them, and even closer, right? Working with my mom. I get to spend a lot of time with her, even if it's about insurance. It's taken up so much of her life and my life. And so it's not really, like the business and then the personal. It really is. She's poured her soul into the business, and it's supported my entire life. And so it's neat to know what she was doing and understand like the background of all that, because I feel like I do get to learn more about her and understand her, meet her friends, understand all her stories more than I would be able to just going to lunch and talking.
Yeah.
I can totally relate to that. It's fun when like you understand your parent on a level of like, well, my mom's not my boss, but we work together in a lot of different ways, but like in how she is at work, because I can definitely I draw the same conclusions.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about your agency's growth. You guys have grown your agency. Well, Patty, you've grown the agency from sounds like scratch. Did you start
Mm-hmm.
scratch?
Yeah,
Scratch
zero
to one of the
policies.
yeah, to one of the biggest in your areas. What do you attribute that growth to?
Truly consistency and dedication. I believe that has been one of the things that I've stayed pretty consistent. Um, and, I remember setting the schedule of the hours. And to me, that no matter what happened, I needed to keep my word. And my word means a lot. So to me, and when I give it, I have to stick to it. And unless I'm laying in a hospital where I can't move, but other than that, I got to show up. And so I remember that. I remember the hours, and I thought about it. So that's one of the things that have stayed, very consistent for us. And asking, I had no shame asking friends, family, hey, I'm starting out. Vanessa was probably too little. She was 18 months when I opened the agency. Her siblings, I would give them like pens to give their friends with my business to their family. Any type of marketing. I actually, the Sunday outing, it was go to mass and breakfast, and we're gonna go distribute flyers. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna go knock on doors, and that's what they got to do. So I think in a small way, it was my marketing at the time. And so I've always had some sort of marketing ideas going on. I went to my local grocery stores and I thought, I saw those little business cards because I thought, at laundromats, they have like all these signs that there's a room for rent or like something going on. And so I created this business cards that was like a sticky where you could just take them off, tear them up. And so I asked if I can put them up like a flyer and I can put them up, and they're on their board and things like that. And so just the consistency of always trying to find ways of staying connected and asking people to support a local small business.
As you've grown, how have those strategies changed?
Some of the strategies now we've gotten a little fancier and in a way where I would say like for a very long time it was asking and getting those referrals, but not having a consistent way of acknowledging and the referral, right? So about 9 years ago, 10 years ago, I put a referral program in place that had the process from beginning to end, and we just follow it every single time. And it's been amazing of the rewards of that because whether the person purchases a policy or not, we thank them. And we have like a whole theme every single year. We've revamped it and give it a whole new look and a whole new name to make it exciting
Your referral program you revamp every single year?
every single year.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna be honest, the reward we just add like an extra dollar, but the reward it's internal, so it's the referral program benefits the referrer, right? So who's referring? It benefits the community because we give back to the community, and it benefits the team because they also get a lot of rewards, and we have a lot of internal like programs that we do throughout the year so that they can earn more. And so, and also like at the end of the year when we do the grand prize, who the person who was the agent or the account manager, whoever ended up being their client, they also get a small bonus for that. So it's like a win-win. Everybody wins in this referral rewards program.
Got it. So is your referral program when you're saying referral program, do you mean like your current clients are referring new clients to you? Or do you mean like you have specific referral partners, like you have like a mortgage person and a realtor and all of those things.
So primarily, most of our referrals come from current clients.
Okay.
We do have some referral partners that are clients and
Oh,
friends.
okay.
And so they now become like, can we just send them over to you? And we're like, oh, of course. No, no, please, we have so much. No, I'm just kidding. Of course,
Too busy, no
absolutely.
thanks.
Yes, yeah, we take them all.
Yeah.
So, Vanessa, from a marketing standpoint, what is one of your big focuses inside the agency that you think is moving the agency forward? Like, what's one of the initiatives that you took on as the marketing person that you felt like has been impactful?
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, one of my favorite parts of our marketing is definitely our community events. And so we've always really been involved in the community before it was any sort of formalized program written down any which way. I know that that's something, I mean, I grew up having that instilled in me, and it was definitely something that was present in the agency was donations at a minimum. But when I first started, was actually during COVID. It was 2020. And so I got to pick up all of our outreach in a time where no one was going out. And so we went from doing something every month with different organizations to really partnering up and finding organizations that we value, that we've learned our clients love, and reaching out to at least every part of our community in some way. And so we have a reason for every single community event that we do, where we have like our high school scholarship where we want to reach out to high school students. And at the end of the day, them going to get higher education, whether it's a trade school, community college, an undergraduate program, any of the above, they're going to do something better for themselves, and in turn will be able to give back to our community too. And so really, right, we have our high school students, we have our Books for Bikes program where we're giving back to elementary students, getting them excited about reading. And we know that, of course, knowledge is power. Knowledge can give you anything you want in this world. And if they have that at such a young age, they'll be able to do anything. And of course, come back to the community and support however they choose to. And we work with Breast Cancer Angels, a local nonprofit in Orange County and Los Angeles County, who work with families, women who are experiencing breast cancer. And it's not just cancer research either. A lot of it goes to their family. Like if they need groceries because now that parent can't work and they need school supplies or they need food, they don't ever want those families to have to choose between treatment and a life, right? Needs. So I think that has been incredible. And right now, our last one of the year is Gaspar's Angels, where we actually partner with two different places, and we work with Orangewood Foundation here in Santa Ana, California, who actually works with foster youth. So either they're still in the foster program or they just aged out of the foster program, are no longer getting those benefits, and they help them find a place to live. How am I going to pay rent? Teach them how to handle money, how to buy groceries, all of those things that you would need. Maybe were never taught to them. So they get supported there. And our homeless community or our mentally ill community too, we kind of go back and forth on who we support as that last foundation every year. We go to the same location, but a lot of it is kind of mixed, honestly. So we just have tried to reach out to every part of our community. It doesn't matter, right? Elementary students, high school students, even people. I mean, they're not even people who drive or who really are gonna give us any money in terms of buying a policy. For us, it really is just about being able to help where we are, all the people around us. And
Yeah.
so
So let me
that's
ask you
been
a
my favorite.
question because I think that it's one of the things that actually attracted me to this industry to begin with is the generosity and the deep roots in community that agents have. Because when I first started in this industry, I was attracted because I had an M&A background. It was a great way for me to use my skills. I hadn't used, I stayed home and raised my girls. And so when I went back as a second job, I was like, wow, someone thinks I'm employable and I get to do something that I actually had, right? So But what made me stay was agents care. Like they genuinely care about their clients, they care about their community, and it's people I want to work for. Like that's the thing. But what I find is some agents don't like to tell their story. Like they do all of these
Mm.
things, but they're not really good at telling people they're doing it because it's not their nature. They just do it because it's the right thing to do and it's the thing they care about. How do you go about telling the story of the agency? Maybe you don't have that same apprehension that my generation has, but tell me what that looks like for you guys, Vanessa.
Yeah, so I mean, we've created some videos with Patty, and my mom explaining why we do what we do, why we've selected certain charities. And in going even to the breast cancer, we've even interviewed some of our clients who get to share their testimony about, their experience with breast cancer and why it means so much to them. So we do really like to do videos. We realize we get more interaction with that. Anytime we are really promoting what we're doing, we're constantly posting what the team is doing, how anyone else can participate. Because at the end of the day, I have to say, I really had some of that apprehension too when I first started. It really was. My mom was like, no, we have to share. We have to be telling everyone what we're doing because, I mean, we want them to get involved. And that really is what flipped the switch for me. I don't have a problem being on camera, but I don't like doing things for the attention, right? I'm not going to do something to help someone just because I want to post it on social media. I realize though for our agency and the reason we do get to share is because at the end of the day, yes, we're doing good for the community, and why would we not invite anyone else to participate too? I think a lot of the barrier is that people don't know how to help. People don't know where to get started, and they might not want to give just money because they don't know exactly where it's going. And so we really share to provide them the opportunity to participate too and just make a bigger impact. More people, more help. And that's kind of
Yeah.
where we're at with that.
So I want to switch gears just for a minute because Patty, you said something that was super impactful to me. First of all, I also lived on my own when I was 16. My dad had moved overseas. They allowed me to stay in my house when I was 16. I got to tell you, when my kids became 16 and I realized that they would be living on, there was no way ever I would ever let that happen. But, you know, then not only that, you came into the industry, you started with another agency, and then at some point you decided to take the leap to bet on yourself and to start an agency. And there's people that could be listening to this podcast right now that might be thinking about maybe I want to bet on myself. Maybe I can do that. What was that like? Like, what brought you to that? And what advice would you give to someone who's contemplating that?
Absolutely. For me, the drive was I wanted to do a lot of different things, and I was limited to what I could do within the agency that I was. I absolutely love people, and I think part of my problem is that I fall in love really quickly. And so I really was blessed with a lot of clients, and there was a lot more that I wanted to do. And unfortunately, that was not the same vision for my principal. And so, um, I don't know, maybe as I got older and a bit more mature, I also thought of other opportunities. And as a matter of fact, it was kind of like a holy thing because Vanessa at 2 months was diagnosed with meningitis, and I almost lost her. And I had a horrific experience where I worked, and that kind of motivated me to say, what am I doing? Like, I've been here for all these years. I poured so much. Like, why can't I do this on my own? But, for a very long time, I would hear this voice that was actually told to me that there was no way that I would ever make it on my own. And I believed it. And then, one day I met who I believe was my guardian angel. I've been so blessed. I even met him alive. And he was an Allstate agent. And when I was 19 years old, he wrote my life insurance policy, and I shared a lot of things. But anyway, from time to time, we always stayed in touch. And he said to me, "You can do this. Here's the only difference." And I'll say this out because I feel that hopefully some people out there that if you're thinking about it, he said, "Patty, You drive a car right now, right? Yes. What year? What's the year of your car? Whatever it was at the time, I told him, right? He goes, so let's say that you go out and you start your business and everything goes bad, nothing works for you. I mean, are you gonna be without transportation? Maybe you'll drive an older car. Maybe you'll drive, or maybe you'll take the bus to work, right? He goes, maybe right now you eat meat, 3 times a week for dinner. Well, maybe you won't eat meat, but maybe once a week or once a month, but you'll still eat. And so then he started breaking it down for me where the biggest fear sometimes is that we're not going to have a place to live. Right now, you live in a house. Maybe you'll have to move to an apartment, but you'll still have a place to live. And so all those things played for quite some time in my head. And then when the limitations came and they got bigger and stronger, and then so all of that, you know, he called me and said, Patty, I've sold my agency, my business, and I want to become an independent. And I went to this major carrier here in California, and they said that if I partner up with you, that they'll give me a contract. Would you want to be my partner? And I'm like, what? I mean, this was a God sent situation. Okay, long story short, through the process, I said, George, I'll say his name because, rest in peace. I said, I want to know if I can do this on my own. I love you, but I want to know if I can do this on my own. And he was such a great man. We sat with the marketing rep. He asked for both of us, hey, Patty wants to ask you a question. And long story short, he opened up 3 months before I did, and we ended up with the contract. I'd been saving money for the last 2 years, and I was able to put a business plan together, and I was blessed enough. And probably the only contract they've ever given away that way that they did. And I almost got terminated about a day after I opened my office, but another angel that came into place and said, Patty, I'll lose my job before you lose that contract. You're going to keep it. And I know. And I said, listen, I just want to show you that I'm going to work really hard. I just want something better for my family and an opportunity. And we did. And so, yeah, I mean, when George passed or before he passed and he sold his agency, my agency was like 3 times bigger than his. And he called me one day. He goes, you know why your agency is bigger than mine? I'm like, no, because maybe I work more hours than you. He said, no, because I never learned Spanish. And shame on me. But I said, okay.
Patty, though, the biggest part of that is he believed in you, maybe even before you believed in you, right? And
Absolutely.
listen, I'm a female business owner, and I will tell you, I love entrepreneurs. Like, I started in a place that was a startup. I was attracted to this industry because I was surrounded by some pretty inspirational entrepreneurs, but I worked for someone else for a long, long time. And it's just interesting. There were a lot of people that actually thought I could do this before I thought I could do this. This wasn't actually part of the plan. So, and I am also very, very blessed with people that have done what George did for you. And they saw it in me before I saw it. And they also walked by me. I also I want to do this on my own too. Like, I don't want it to be someone else's. I want to do the work. But it's interesting. I'm glad you shared that, because if someone's thinking, can I do this? The answer is you got to see it in yourself just like everybody else sees it. And it's a lot of consistency and a lot of hard work. There's just no two ways around that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I have to ask this because, Vanessa, you joined 3 years ago. You watched your mom from afar. You've been in the agency from afar. I mean, obviously, but once you get in it, and your perception is now reality, like watching from afar is different than being in it. What was the biggest surprise coming into the agency?
I don't think that I really had many expectations of what it would look like. In fact, I think the only expectation I had was that I really was going to start from the very bottom. Whatever work no one wants to do is what I was going to do, because I also deep down felt like and still feel like I have to understand every inch, every corner of how the agency runs, and not just how the agency runs, but how do you maintain, where the real estate of where we're at. How do I make sure everything stays clean? What does that schedule look like? And so my expectation was having to learn all of that. The one thing that does get me constantly and still to this day is how much clients know about my life. I've never met them before. And they're like, hey, you're Lares. Like, is that Patty Lares' daughter? Yeah, and they're like, oh my gosh, you haven't seen me since you were 7. I'm like, I don't know who you are. But that's got to be honestly the only surprise, I think, because I didn't really have any expectations of what the journey would look like other than I just wanted to get started.
Well, Lindsay, I'm sure you've never heard anything like that, right, Linz?
Never. One of my current clients has been our insurance agent for maybe my entire life. So like literally he's like come to my house when I was like in elementary school. And like you're like so I get that all the time. All of my current clients have known me since I was a child. It's a very weird dynamic.
It
Yeah.
is.
Like I promise I'm an adult, I can give you advice.
I did get my license, I promise.
I know. Well,
Yeah,
I got to
I
tell
drive a
you,
car.
ladies, you know, just
Yeah.
listening to you, Vanessa, and knowing how my daughter approaches her job, this podcast that we do together and all of it, the future's pretty damn bright. That's all I got to say. Like, I am super excited about if these ladies are the ones running things in several years, like that's a place I want to be really a part of because it looks pretty bright to me. So anyway, I appreciate you both coming on and joining us to share your story. I could talk to you guys forever and ever. And Vanessa, I got to tell you, man, you're a super, super impressive young lady. I'm really glad that I got a chance to get to talk to you.
Yeah.
So if people want to reach out to you, they want to learn more about this, they want to talk about, what it takes to start an agency, what things they should be thinking out in marketing, any of those things, how do they get in touch with you ladies?
Well, I am always open to anyone. So please know that you can always come visit. You can call me. Our number is public, so you can do that. Our website, www.Lares or laresinsurance.com. And it's pretty simple. Feel free to come and see and watch what we've done in the operations. And I'm an open book, truthfully. Someone asked me one time, well, why do you share every single thing or process? I said, because, and I'm going to say this without, I hope no disrespect whatsoever. But one thing I know is that one thing is to listen and to say, oh my God, that's so exciting. I want to do that. And then as a follow through, I've had so many people come and see everything and they're like, oh, okay, wow, you do that, you do that. And the next thing I say, well, what have you implemented? Well, nothing yet.
Right.
So implementation, I don't care how simple it is, you just have to start. And then the last thing I did wanted to say, which I missed saying, is that if I had to do it all over again, I would have hired a coach. I would have hired somebody to guide me because I've been really blessed, don't get me wrong, and we did a lot, but it took me a whole lot more and longer than if I would have had some kind of guidance in how to do this and make things easier for me. So do not be afraid of believing in yourself and investing in yourself.
Great advice. Absolutely great advice. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being our guest. I look forward to seeing you, hopefully very, very soon. And I hope you both have a wonderful holiday.
You too. It's so nice
You
meeting you,
too.
Lindsay.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you
us.
for having us.